Greetings and welcome to another episode of Sonic Odyssey, the video channel dedicated to bringing you the last 5 decades or so of music in review and discussion format. Before we dive into today's discussion, let's get the house cleaning out of the way. Please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video through any of the many social media platforms that are available. You can share it through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and many other options are available as well. Also, please do feel free to visit our Patreon page. There you can donate anything from a couple of dollars a month up to help keep the channel going, and also maybe you can even have your name listed in the credits at the end of the video. And if you take one of our upper tiers, you can even select an album for me to review. So, house cleaning out of the way, let's get to today's discussion. We're going to be looking at a band from Middletown, New Jersey called Symphony X. They may be from New Jersey, but it was actually in Japan where they got their fame. This happened in 1994. So Symphony X itself was actually formed in 1994. This sort of came about through the solo album of guitarist Michael Romeo alongside keyboardist Michael Pinella. This album was called The Dark Chapter, and it achieved pretty good success in Japan, and the solo release was so well received in Japan that a kind of demand for something more was made. So that same year, drummer Jason Rulo, as well as a bassist and vocalist, were brought into the band, and they released their debut eponymously titled Symphony X. And that was also very well received. For their second album, which was released just a mere 6 months later, they ditched the vocalist and brought on Russell Allen as their new vocalist, and on the tour for their fourth album, which was in 1999, Twilight in Olympus was the name of the album they were touring, the bassist quit, and he was replaced by Michael LaPond. And since 1999 up through to today, that lineup has been consistent. So you have the three Michaels, Jason, and Russell. That lineup has been solid and really developed into a phenomenal cohesive unit over the time from 1999 through to today. And that brings us to today's album. Today's album is the album simply entitled 5. It was their 5th studio album, and it was released in October 10th, 2000. It was called 5. That's the only title on the album, but on the liner sheets, the subtitle for the album is The New Mythology Suite. It's a concept album dealing primarily with Egyptian mythology, astrology, and Atlantis, and it also is bringing together a greater degree of their symphonic elements than had been previously found on their earlier albums. So let's hear a little bit of that from the song Communion and the Oracle. Here in Communion and the Oracle, the symphonic classical elements are a little bit understated. They're there, but they balance the traditional progressive metal instrumentation that is key to a progressive metal band. In the next clip, I know I'm jumping to another clip really quickly, but I feel this kind of deserves it. In the next clip, you'll hear an even greater degree of classical and symphonic elements taken from the song The Death of Balance, Lacrimosa. And let's give a brief listen to that. In this clip, you can hear the symphonic elements really turned up much higher and playing a much greater role in the composition of the song. That is part of their trademark sound. They've been described as neoclassical metal, but they really are a progressive symphonic metal band. And it's beautiful music to listen to. The symphonic elements are from Michael Pennella on keyboards. It's all programmed, but it is marvelously done. And there's great interplay between Michael Romeo, who's a virtuoso on the guitar, and Michael Pennella on the keyboards, who likewise is a virtuoso player. The lineup that they have, the three Michaels, Jason and Russell, is an astounding lineup. Bringing in Michael LaPond on bass was wonderful, as he really has a stronger progressive tendency in his playing style. He moves his fingers along the fretboard in similar fashion to John Entwistle of The Who. And if you know his playing, he really was a master at just making incredible movements up and down the fretboard. So it's really beautiful music to listen to. Symphony X has a very hit and miss relationship with the Western charts, with Western audiences. They're still hugely popular in Japan and in Asia, but only a couple of their albums in 2000, I think it was 2007 and 2011, charted at all. But they're still going very strong and continuing to put out fantastic releases, with their most current release being just a couple years old now, called Underworld. Not really sure what else I can say about Symphony X. So I feel like I want to brag on about their virtuosity and their fantastic skill and writing styles, but I think it's better to go from what you hear and see if that might be something you would be interested in. I first found Symphony X with their third album, and I was surprised as hell to find out they were from Middletown, New Jersey, because Middletown was a town that I actually lived in for a number of years, and even when I wasn't living in Middletown, I was living in Red Bank, New Jersey, which is just a stone's throw away. So it surprised me that I had lived so many years in New Jersey and never heard of this band, and I had to come to Taiwan to find out about this fantastic band from my home state. That I guess is pretty much all I can say. The review I would give this album would definitely be 4.5 out of 5 stars. There's very little to complain about on it. I like this album, and I chose this album not only because it was released on my birthday, but also because it has these segues and these interludes between the songs. So there's, I think, a total of 14 songs on the album, but there are these little breaks between some of the songs that are just classical pieces bridging the songs together. And as a concept album, it does stand fairly strong. The concepts come through very nicely in the lyric content of the album. So I hope you'll give Symphony X's 5 a listen. And with that being said, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And please consider visiting our Patreon page, and please consider becoming a patron. That would be greatly appreciated. Until the next time, it's been great talking to you, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.